Hey guys, how's it going? It is my different username here, and today we're gonna be doing something a little bit different. And instead of something from our galaxy, I figured we'd make something from a long time ago in another galaxy far, far away. And today, I'm bringing you the LEGO DC-15A Blaster Rifle. So, the DC-15A Blaster Rifle. Not only does it have a long name, but the gun itself is also extremely long. But besides that, this serves as the main rifle used by the clone troopers, and it was introduced in episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, this rifle can be very great for certain aspects of warfare, and at the same time can have a lot of, cons. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but for right now, I'm actually going to talk about the design of the weapon. It's very unique, and there's actually a lot of interesting facts about it. So, if most of you guys are true Star Wars nerds, kind of like myself, then you probably already know that most of the Star Wars weapons that you see are actually modeled off of World War II weapons from our universe. In fact, this one happens to be modeled off of the MG34. It has the receiver as well as the buttstock, and you can even see where the bullet belt would normally be loaded in on the actual MG34, but obviously they made a few changes here and there to the model itself, but for the most part, it is still the MG34 stock and everything. Do you guys remember those cons I was talking about? Alright, here it is. So, the weapon is very heavy in the front, but it's also very light in the back. And all that pressure from the front side is being placed into a tiny little spot in between both of the sides, which is pretty bad, and it could easily shatter the rifle if not handled carefully. If it wasn't bad enough already, it also feels heavy, even though it really isn't. It only weighs 4.4 pounds, but because of the length of the weapon, all that weight is distributed all over the place, so it feels like it weighs more than just that. This is really a con in my opinion. It probably isn't a con to other people, but anyway. So normally with a rifle like this, something that's really large and really heavy, you should put a grip on there that can support all that weight and would be comfortable to the user. Instead, whoever the prop designer was ended up putting a scope there instead of like something like a normal grip. This is probably just because it looked cooler. I don't know, because there's really no functionality, at least in my opinion, just placing a scope onto the bottom of a rifle. So right here we have the charge pack for the weapon. Now this can last up to around 50 shots before it would have to be reloaded. But when it comes to the design of the pack itself, I'm not really too much of a big fan of it. Because I couldn't find one on the internet, I had to base off just what I would think it would look like. And I'm not really too much of a big fan of it, but then again, it's better than having it just be in a black box inserted into a rifle. So right here we have the barrel of the gun, and I have to say, I wasn't really sure how this was going to look in the beginning, but it actually looks really good, especially with all the little sections kind of creating an octagonal shape on it of what I believe is the heatsink of the weapon. And basically heatsink absorbs all the heat from the laser beams being shot through it, or at least that's what I imagine. Now besides that, on top of the barrel you can actually see that we have this like little notch on top, and I believe, at least this is what I'm imagining, I believe there's a camera inside of this, and it actually links up to the clone troopers helmets, and it creates this graphical gun sight for them so they can actually properly aim this weapon, because there isn't actually like any kind of scope on this weapon or anything, so I wouldn't know how else they would actually be able to aim it besides that. So right here we have the lights for the weapon, and it's a Star Wars blaster, right? It needs some really cool light setups and stuff like that, and actually not really. A lot of blasters don't really have the crazy lights, but this one does. Anyway, so I'm gonna actually describe what the purpose of the lights are. So the one on the side is really just a small detail. The one on top, it's not a scope as I originally thought. I almost thought it was like a scope that you aim into, but it really isn't. What it is kind of like an energy reader for your weapon. Essentially, it just tells you how much power is going into each and every shot that you fire. So let's say you reloaded the gun, so you're really high on energy. The light would be really bright just to indicate, hey, you have a lot of energy behind this shot, or this next shot you're gonna fire. But as you move on and on, shooting all more rounds out of the weapon, you're gonna notice that the light gets dimmer because you're running low on energy, and that's the gun's way of basically telling you, hey, you should probably reload the Tibanna gas cartridge soon. So I don't know, I think that's actually pretty cool. I kind of wish it was the scope though, because it just looks cool, but at the same time, this one actually makes more sense with the blaster than it originally would without it. There are still a lot more facts that I haven't covered in this video just because there's so much information about this one rifle. I was actually generally surprised. I could not believe how much information was on this one rifle in particular. It's really insane. I even learned a few more things about this than I really thought. You know, I kind of consider myself a Star Wars nerd, but even in this episode, I learned a few more things here and there. But anyway, let's finally do this gun some justice and finally shoot it. So let's do it. Subscribe to see more Star Wars weapons, like, favorite, and comment if you have enjoyed. And as always, everyone, thanks for watching.